Hello, this is Dr. Benjamin Smith, lecturer in philosophy with Catholic Studies Academy. In a previous video, I talked about the foundational principle of classical ethics, namely the claim of Aristotle that all human action is for the good. Now, as I said in the previous video, um, by saying this, Aristotle does not mean that all human beings are morally good, or always virtuous, or always doing the right thing. Rather, what he's really referring to is the psychology of human action. Um, that is, what is it that motivates us when we make our choices and form our intentions? According to Aristotle, it's the perception of something, some course of action, as desirable, that is, worthy of pursuit, worthy of our investment in terms of time and energy. This raises, of course, the very important question about then, well, why do we perceive something to be desirable? And, very importantly, could our perceptions about what's desirable be right or wrong? That is true or false. So if you think about it, maybe not just as in terms of a perception, but really a judgment, that something is desirable or not, that really introduces the aspect of truth into the matter, right? The aspect of reason. So it's not just, oh, something appears to be desirable, but we can ask the question, well, is it really desirable? And why do I desire this, right? Now, very importantly, if the idea of human action being um, caused or motivated by the perception of the good is the first principle of action, probably the most important distinction that Aristotle makes at the beginning of classical ethics is the distinction between what's really desirable and what is not, or what only appears to be desirable in this or that way. This is very important, right? That is, Aristotle doesn't think, and of course he's correct, that something is desirable because we desire it, right? I'll say that again. We are wrong to think that something is desirable simply because we desire it. We might desire something, Aristotle would claim, that's not actually really desirable. Now, that's a strong claim, right? Our modern kind of prejudice, you could say, or inclination, I think, in ethics is to really say, well, something has value or it's desirable because I desire it. You often see this expressed in sort of subjective notions of value in economics. But that's far from the case, Aristotle say. Aristotle say, nope, some things are in reality desirable, even if you happen not to desire them. For example, justice or chastity or modesty or simplicity, right? You might think that the endless accumulation of money is desirable, and you would be wrong, right? That's called greed. Greed is not actually desirable. You may, in fact, desire it. Many Americans do, unfortunately, but it is, in fact, not truly what is desirable, right? Now, what this means, though, with this distinction in hand, of course, we have another question that's raised, a very important question, and that is a question of, well, okay, fine. If we're going to make this distinction between what's really desirable and what's not really desirable, what's the basis for that, right? That is, what's the basis or foundation for distinguishing between the really desirable and that which merely appears to be desirable? Obviously, this is an important distinction to get right because we want to pursue, or we should want to pursue, what is really desirable in life, right? That which is worthy of our investment of time and energy, that which should inspire our choices and intentions. Instead of pursuing those things that only appear to be desirable, right? Pseudo goods, right? It's very important to get this right because our world bombards us with images, with advertisements, with messages about, um, you know, uh, ambition, greed, accumulation, quote, being successful, all those sorts of things that actually fill us with wrong ideas, I think, about what is really desirable, right? Simplicity, prayer, family, virtue, things of that nature, not winning the next award or getting the biggest office. Well, those are some strong claims I'm making there, and they'll only be justified once we start to explore the idea of what's the foundation, what's the criteria for distinguishing between what's really desirable and what is not. And I'll take that matter up in the next video. I hope you found these comments helpful and edifying. Until next time, God bless.